Maingay ngayon ang name ni Bulacan Governor Daniel Fernando nang masangkot ito sa violation umano ng guidelines ng IATF nang magbiyahe ito papuntang Bataan at nang magkaroon din ng umano ng issue sa chairman ng SBMA na si Attorney WILMA EISMA. Napilitang magpahayag at magbigay ng official statement ang nasabing chairman para na rin maliwanagan ang tunay na pangyayari na naganap noong May 8, 2020. Sa kanyang Facebook post, isinulat ng chairman ang kanyang saloobin at bersyon ng pangyayari at narito ang kanyang buong kwento. Media statement on the issue with Governor Fernando, May 21, 2020. I would have wanted to maintain my silence on this issue with Bulacan Governor Cesar Fernando Ramirez or Daniel Fernando, which I have deemed unimportant in this time of a pandemic, but members of the media have been pressing me to say my piece considering that this matter has been the subject of a May 20 opinion piece by Manila Times publisher Dr. Dante Ang, and that Governor Fernando himself had his rejoinder published in the same paper the following day. I don't have much quarrel, by the way, with what happened according to both stories, and indeed the statement will only serve to confirm much of what has already been said in both instances, to wit, number one, that I have denied a request by Governor Fernando for him to pass through the Subic Bay Freeport on the way to Morong, Bataan last May 8, 2020 while the Luzon is on enhanced community quarantine, that he became upset because of my refusal, and 3. That I apologize for having had to refuse him entry but ultimately stood my ground. But to clarify things, allow me to say briefly from my point of view why and how this happened. At 3:41 p.m. on May 8, 2020, a senior SBMA staff received a text message from an intermediary informing him of a request for assistance from a 3-vehicle party of Governor Fernando, which was already at the tipo gate of the Subic Bay Freeport. They are reportedly on their way to Bataan through the Morong gate to give donations and ask if they would be allowed to pass through. I immediately responded, if it's for relief, okay, no stopping. Work with SBMA security men. However, the same intermediary soon texted my senior staff to say that the truth was that the governor is going to check on his resort in Bataan and that he was simply requesting to pass through the Morong gate and that there will be no side trip. To this I answered, no, only relief operation can be allowed. At 4:04 p.m., one attorney Datsun, who introduced himself as an aide of Governor Fernando, texted me to ask if the governor can call me up. I said yes, but added that if this was about the entry to Subic, I reminded him that we are strictly implementing the ECQ rules issued by President Duterte. I added, I trust that this is the leaders of the country like you and me who should follow it so we can set an example to our people. If I will allow you to pass through, it's only for one way. You have to go out through Morong. Attorney Datsun sounded amiable, so I further explained my position, that I refused them entry because I was advised that the governor was just going to visit his resort and that under the circumstances I can only allow relief operations and delivery of essential services. The governor's aide then claimed that they are not going to visit any resort because the governor has already sold his resort 5 years ago. He added that the governor Fernando has long provided help to Morong because he has relatives there. So I again apologize for having hurt the governor's feelings and explain again that I was just trying to do my job. Attorney Datsun said he understood my position but that the governor was really offended. After that, I called up governor's number that Attorney Datsun gave me. At this point, I was considering letting them pass through so that the situation can be resolved there and then. But I was not prepared for what I heard. Governor Fernando simply went ballistic. He said he had already turned back and going to Morong the long way through Mariveles. Still, he harped on his right as local chief executive to unhampered access. I pointed out that the only applied to his own jurisdiction, the same way that I couldn't have unhampered access in other areas outside of Subic Freeport during lockdown. When I said that I could have allowed them in if they were really bringing in relief goods, he retorted that what he had to give was cash. Again, I apologized but stood my ground. His harangue went on for more than an hour until his party apparently entered a dead spot and I couldn't hear him anymore. In his Manila Times opinion piece, Dr. Ang described that Governor Fernando savaged me during our conversation. In his story that came out next, Governor Fernando lamented that the story based on EISMA's narrative painted a different story. Well, it has been a full 2 weeks after the incident on May 8th, and it is only now that I am sharing my own story, my own narrative. Why? Because this issue shouldn't occupy us these days when we are called upon to act on more important things. I have asked for understanding and patience over what has happened, but I knew then and I know now that I was just doing my job, which was to protect Subic, which has remained COVID-free 68 days into the community quarantine. Having said my side, I ask that we cast our differences aside and look forward to mutual understanding and respect. We have better things to do and our respective constituents expect us to do them. Thank you, Attorney WILMA EISMA, Chairman and Administrator, Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority. Samantala, narito naman ang comment ng ilang mga netizens. Ayon kay Iram Nij, very well said and explained by your Honorable SBMA Chairman and Administrator, Attorney WILMA EISMA. We stand by you. Good job po. Narito pa ang comment isang netizen. That's a good gesture, ma'am, and we all knew that every incident, events have their own story to tell. Though, what I have read is way clearly that you've done strictly your part and noticed even one source gave infos. It shows the real reason behind no unkind but cash. You did the right way and pretty sure he'll do it his way as well. So I believe it. Stay safe po. Sabi naman na isa, salute you ma'am. Thank you for protecting the Subic Bay and especially the many employees who's working inside the SBMA. God bless you, Chairman and Administrator EISMA. Sabi naman ng isa, I heard that there are many politicians in the Philippines who do not comply with many laws and rules. The Governor of Bulacan and the top police officers who held the birthday party deserve them. Since there are many such top-class people, it may be difficult to reduce the number of infected people. Your decision is by no means a special decision, but what politicians should be. I hope more politicians like you will be in the Philippines. Sabi naman ng isa, this arrogant entitlement is why we have government officials breaking the laws they are elected to implement. Good on for you standing your ground. In the meantime, we patient Olongapeños are wondering when we can go back in and provide you with the more customers for your business inside SBMA.